Now, if you wanted to add tooling holes to a part, even if you don't have the drawn in Alibre, is that something you could do here, or would you need to add that in Alibre first?
When you say tooling holes, you want to basically insert some holes into the part?
Yeah, like let's say you did have to machine top and bottom and you wanted 4 reference holes so that you could locate it on, you know, say
Okay,
Delta.
like a registration pin, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the ways you could do it is you can go ahead and create a new sketch in here in Alibre, and then I could use a rectangle. Maybe I'll just go pick a center, and I'll just throw in a rectangle right there.
Okay.
We can also dimension it. You could say it's going to be 40 by 30 millimeter. I can display the sketch. Okay, so once you have the sketch drawn in here, you can go ahead and you have the sketch created right there, right? So we have this, oh, did I not create the sketch? Okay, I may have not created the sketch right there. So I may have exited before the sketch was created. So let me go back in here, activate a sketch. I'll put in a rectangle. I'll dimension it if you need to. Okay, that's going to be, I'll just put in 80 millimeters.
Okay.
And I'll create this. I'll put in maybe 50 millimeters.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have the sketch drawn, and I can go ahead and activate a new sketch in here. And maybe you can just insert points, or you can even put in circles. You don't really have to make it a 3D model.
Okay.
You can specify a circle, and you can use dimensioning for it. You can say what is the dimension, 2 millimeters or 2.5 millimeters. You can also add relationships in here, how far it needs to be, right?
Sure.
From this to, you can add dimensioning between these two, and then you can also specify constraints in here. And once you have those created, I'm just going to go ahead and add a few circles in here. So we have those circles created. Now all I got to do is program a toolpath for it. So those could be programmed as a profiling or a hole profiling operation. You know, however you want to do it. Or you can even do a drilling operation. Just pick those holes and then use a hole machining and drilling. And I have the select. I can even use an end mill for drilling it, or I can use a drill bit and specify the depth you want to cut. It's going to be 5 millimeters, or if it's going to be you know, 9.525 from the 0 that we've defined. And you can do a standard drill, or you can even do a peck drill, specify a step increment and generate. So that'll get you a drill operation. And you can specify where you want the cuts to start at. So that'll create a drill operation for us.
Okay, and then if you want to set, this is maybe a little trivial, but on that, say, pecking operation, if you want to change the feed rate for the peck, where is that information in there? So
what we do on a peck drilling is we output a CAN cycle for drilling. So typically it outputs a G83, and then it outputs a cycle feed rate. That feed rate is over here. So when you post it, it'll output a peck drill cycle. So when I do a post, you see that there's a G83.
Okay.
The Q, and then the F is the feed rate that you're seeing right here. So the controller interprets this peck drilling cycle.
Okay. So it pulls that default value in?
Yeah, it takes this value, and the drill cycle can only accept a single value for the feed rate. And the cycle is interpreted by the max NC control or Haas or whatever the machine control is.
Okay. So could you save custom peck drill settings?
When you say custom peck drill settings, if you want to...
For instance, one thing that's really critical to us is we do a lot of drilling and a lot of peck cycles. You know, let's say we've got a part with 1,000 holes in it. We tailor each one of those feed rates and that those values for the the Q value and that feed rate you've got highlighted there. We tailor that pretty specifically to each part.
Yeah, you can save them into like a knowledge base. So you can have this saved to a knowledge base where this could be, you can have a drill, peg drill, tap, maybe a sequence of them, have them saved to a knowledge base for a call it, this is for material, 6061, and you can have everything saved. So you just have to load the library, pick the holes for other projects. So you can create like a template of operations.
Okay. All right. Then I've got a really complicated question for you. We make our own, we write our own program for pecking sometimes when we don't like the canned cycle. And so we just go into the G code and edit it ourselves. Is there any way to have a custom canned cycle in here like a PEC cycle, but it's one that's our own?
Okay, is it similar to a G83 where it expects X, Y?
Yeah, it's very similar, but we customize it sometimes.
So if you notice under drill types, we have user-defined drill cycles.
Okay, there we go.
When I select user-defined, I can specify these parameters. This could be a PEC or without a PEC.
Okay.
And in the post processor, we have a customizable post, and I can go down to user-defined drill, and I can define the cycle code. This could be G83.1.
Okay. Yes.
Define the macro. So typically on a deep drill cycle, we output X, Y, Z, and then R, F, and Q, or RQF. So
right.
You can access all of the macros or variables in the post by performing a right-click in any one of these fields, and then it'll give you all of the available variable types that you can use in the post.
Okay, perfect.
If you just select them, it'll insert the macro in there.
Okay.
And then you can save up the post. You can also rename the post to custom name it. So it'll always be available to you.
That's great.
Any other questions I can help you?
No, I think that covers it pretty well.